Recording.
Record.
Hello, it's Karen Harrison. Welcome to August 15th, 2022 Reiki call. I am excited to share tonight's topic with you. And first of all, my website is KarenHarrison.net. And you can find Reiki Call on my YouTube channel at Karen Harrison Reiki, and also on all the places where you like to get your podcasts, and on my website also. So my guest speaker tonight is April Walker. She's one of my licensed Reiki Master Teacher colleagues with the International Center for Reiki Training. And so I'm just going to let her say a little bit more about herself and where she's located. So go ahead, April.
Located in Sonora, California. It's a little bit toward Yosemite if you're looking at the map. And I love being in the forest and forest bathing and combining that with Reiki. So hopefully we'll give you some information that you can use today. I've been doing Reiki for about 20 years and love it just as much today as I did when I started. Kind of grows on you that way, right?
Yes, wonderful. So, all right. So April, here is my guess about what forest bathing is. You go into the forest and you jump into a cold pond. Is that it?
Some people do, but no bathing is required. No actual bathing is required for forest bathing.
All right. Okay. Let me take my next guess. So you hug a tree and you take one of the branches and you rub it down your arms.
You can hug a tree. You can back up to a tree and spend time with a tree for sure. Definitely. But you don't have to rub the branches up and down your arms.
Okay. All right. Here's my third idea.
Oh my.
Okay. You're under a tree and there's sunlight coming through the branches and you just lay on the ground and you soak in all the sun rays coming through the branches.
That absolutely fits. Yes, you can do that. That's one way of forest bathing.
Okay.
Observing, feeling, anything that's involving your senses and observations. Light in the forest is a particular interest of mine. So that was a beautiful image. You know, when's the last time we all laid on the ground and looked up at the sky, right? Outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. So those were my guesses. As you can see, I didn't really know what I was signing up for, but it sounded really good. And I'm a tree hugger and a tree lover. So I thought, sure, why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I'd like to start with just a little bit more meditation. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'd like you to get cozy in your chair. Just take a couple of breaths and breathe in and just get comfortable. Okay. Close the eyes. And if you bring your hands to your heart, I'd like you to inhale and exhale. Begin inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Maybe on your next exhale, you add a little sound. Couple more breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. And if you have Reiki, go ahead and let that Reiki begin to flow, whatever it is you need in this moment. Allow yourself to let go of the day and what's coming after our time here together. And imagine your heart just expanding and being in a place of love for ourselves, for each other, for the planet. Inhaling in, exhaling out any tensions. And really expand the lungs. Inhaling in, Reiki flowing. And I invite you now to picture a place in nature that perhaps you have visited before, or a place that you've seen that you'd like to go. And what that might look like. It could even be in your backyard, a favorite tree. And remember back perhaps times that you spent outside as a kid. Laying down in soft grass and looking up in the sky. Or climbing trees. And just remember things that you enjoyed about being outside. Continue your breaths. Relax the hand somewhere on the body. Return to the deeper breaths. And when you're ready, come back and join us. Did anybody else play outside, like from the time they got home from school until dinner? Was I like the only one that did that? Did anybody else do that? Okay. There's not quite as much happening like that in today's times. And I think that if we spend more time in nature, we get more connected. I'd like to see more of that. Of course, our alarm clock to come in for dinner was when the street lights went out. So that was a natural alarm clock. Okay. What did you go back to and visit? Does anybody want to share what that was? You'll have to unmute.
I went to Muir Woods.
Oh, Muir Woods. Yeah. Is that Muir Woods in California?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, it is beautiful. No doubt. It's magical, mystical, really, really beautiful there. Yes. Anybody else? Jackie?
We had a huge cherry tree in our backyard, and that was my go-to place. I was the youngest, so I could scurry up and be all by myself, and just the aromas and the textures and being free, just absolute freedom. Yeah.
Yes,
Dave.
that's a good association with that. Hi, Dave.
Hi. Yeah, good. That's why I put parentheses DAY. Interesting. My name, Dai, it is a Reiki word that hope I'm not giving away any secrets here. But within what I got, the master, and I don't know if it's the same with the holy fire, but anyway, I went back to the beach where my dad lived. I could always smell the salt water, and just walking distance, and the feeling of the sand and everything like that. So
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Oh my goodness.
yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Anybody else? Okay. So forest bathing is not hiking. It is spending time in nature, observing, feeling, being. It is not at a fast pace. It's not for exercise, although you can combine that certainly. You know, it might be a hike to get into a favorite spot and then you're there. But really, it's the essence of being with the energy of the forest, using all of your senses. So what does it smell like in the forest? What does it look like? What does moss smell like? Look at the different textures of various mosses. What does it feel like? And kind of moseying along, looking at things, observing, being with nature. And I think that element is really a saving grace for me. I like to get out into the forest whenever I can. When I was younger, I would spend summers with my grandmother in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Anybody know where that is? And we had a creek across the street from the house. Here in California, we call it a creek, but it was a creek. And I would literally spend all day by myself across in the creek, and I never got bored. And I had a wonderful time, and I was very much connecting with nature. And then as I got older, I just stopped doing that. I stopped making those connections. And then as an adult, found when I went back into the forest that it really made a difference. I didn't know why. I didn't understand exactly why, but I could literally feel like I had a week off. And nowadays, I go into the forest on average 2 days a week, and I'll be gone 5 hours. I just lose time. And it's wonderful to me to do that because I have a really busy schedule and sort of an electric personality, so to speak, high energy a lot of the times. And when I go into the forest, that truly grounds me there. To stand with my feet on granite rock, for example, and just be there for a few minutes with no agenda is an amazing exercise, something to do. So it doesn't have to be something professional or super organized to do it. It's just a matter of taking time and getting out and doing that. And some people say, well, I can't go into the forest. I can't spend time, in the forest. It's quite a hike to get there or something like that. You can literally do it at home. You can gather things like leaves. Okay, it's not quite fall here, but we have leaves in the backyard. And you can tune in to the energy of these leaves. It can be rocks. Okay, I have a little hobby of collecting heart rocks. And so there's a heart on one side, if you can see it, and a triangle on the other. So of course, this one really, stood out to me. But you can hold a rock, and this is a granite rock, and you can spend time with the energy of the rock. You can look at the rock, feel the texture of the rock, and intend to connect with the energy of the earth through the rock or through the leaves. When's the last time you picked up a leaf and you looked at it? Really spent a minute with it, looking at it and feeling the texture. Sometimes there is a woodsy smell to this. These are out of my backyard. Or listen to, as you walk through the forest, the crunching of the leaves, just for the sake of doing that, right? Just for the sake of spending time relaxing and observing, even observing animals and birds. or observing water, or if you're lucky enough to have a little bit of a waterfall nearby, just listening to the sound of that alone can be very relaxing. So for me, it's about relaxation, but it's also about connecting with energies in the forest. So I really have, some favorite trees, and I get excited when I get to see them. It's as if we're friends. I go and I sit with them and I send them Reiki, and I swear they send it back. I really enjoy spending that time. The term forest bathing comes to us from Japan. Japan started a national wellness program and did some pretty significant studies. And I can send Karen some links. I don't know if you post things after or send emails. If somebody's interested in that, you can look up the studies that are involved that show us that, in fact, there are health benefits to forest bathing.
Yeah, you could put them in the chat, or you can send them to me after and I can put them in the follow-up email.
Okay, let's see here. I'll have to put them in the chat toward the end.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's
all
a
right.
technology thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the benefits that they've shown in the studies that have been done show us that it actually does reduce stress and stress hormone production to spend time forest bathing, lowers blood pressure, reduces depression, even lowers blood sugar levels, boosts the immune system, and accelerates recovery from illness. It can improve your sleep quality. That's a reason right there to go out, I think, improving your sleep quality. And it can improve your concentration and your memory. So, it's not just going out and being outside for a while, which my grandmother always told me, outside is best. It's really good for us, but she didn't give me any reasons why, but I think she was right. There are actual health benefits to doing that. I think that in some of the stuff that I've read, they talk about we are wearing shoes, we're wearing tennis shoes, and that sometimes that can interfere with the electromagnetic field and the electrons that we used to have by actually standing on the earth, spending time doing that. And by the way, in forest bathing, you can also sit. You can sit on, I love to sit on the granite rock or even lay on the granite rock and look up. There aren't hard and fast rules about how you enjoy it. Have all of you recently spent any time outdoors or in the forest? How many? Anybody? I would love to see a way of doing that a little bit more, and then hearing about how it felt when you go out and you're in nature. That quality of relaxation is something that I think we could all use more of. Is everybody here, Karen, a Reiki practitioner?
I think some people aren't yet, but will be soon. So
when you add Reiki to the experience of forest bathing, it amplifies everything. Your senses are amplified. You can actually send Reiki to a rock, to the earth, the energy of the earth. And sometimes you can really feel it heat up back if you're a sensory person.
mm-hmm.
So I would love if the US also created a health program for national health. That would be wonderful. If you want to learn a little bit more, do some reading. Birthing, Most Important Health Discovery Ever is a book. And again, I'll add this to your information for your follow-up email. Clinton Ober. There's also, this book interested me quite some time ago. I was working with children in preschools. Last Child in the Woods, Saving Our Children from Nature Deficit Disorder. I think a lot of us as adults have nature deficit disorder. I really did. I really did. I hadn't been connecting and I hadn't realized how important it could be.
Mhm.
So
Well, all this sounds really good. And I know one thing I'm doing right now is I am building a home at a lake so that every day I can go outside and look at the lake and go on walks. There's trails there and, get in the water whenever the weather is appropriate, or ride my boat on the lake and look at the trees, hug the trees.
absolutely. Yes, I've seen some pictures. It looks gorgeous. Looks gorgeous. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a forest. It can be the ocean, certainly. The sand in all of the minerals touching the feet, the sound of the ocean, we know what that does. There are apps created on these modern phones that all you hear is the ocean coming in and out, and it can make a difference and help people calm and help people relax a little bit more. So even if you can't make it to an ocean, you can certainly listen to the sound of an ocean. And even if you experiment for 5 minutes, and nowadays you can look things up on YouTube and listen to the sounds of that. If you can't be there in person, you can still feel a sense of relaxation listening to those sounds. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Well, I'm wondering if anyone here has any experience where you've given Reiki to a tree and had, some kind of experience with that, where you felt the energy come back. Yeah. Jackie, what did you experience?
Well, I was drawn during the super moon. I get up at 3 a.m. to do my devotions and Reiki and everything. And I was drawn, I could see the moon from my front. So I sat by my big tree and I had a talk with my tree because after class, I'm very connected to go hug a tree or what have you. And it has the ash borer disease and it's slowly dying. And I was touching it and saying, I'm going to have to cut you down. And we both started crying. I really felt we both were crying because it's like, it's my beautiful tree. I only have one tree and that's it. And I just felt that energy back and forth. And I felt that he'll tell me when it's time, because there's some green leaves over here. It's really trying to hang on, but the ones on top are all gone. And I just sat next to the tree and the two of us just saw that beautiful super moon and we just stayed out there as long as we could. And I actually did my whole self Reiki right out there in the moonlight and everything. It was just a gorgeous, gorgeous morning. And it was a delightful day from then on, just delightful.
Wow. That's cool.
Beautiful.
You inspired that, Karen, from our class. So go
Oh,
hug
good.
a tree. Go hug a
Good.
tree. And I
Good.
did.
And go dance in the moon, Jackie.
I did. It was awesome. It was a holy sacred experience. I almost was naked, but I have neighbors that are nosy, so I did.
Oh. Yeah. Wait a minute. April, does forest bathing involve that?
Does it involve a nap? What did you say?
No, that.
No.
I just
No,
you can do it with your
you
clothes
can be
on,
fully
right?
clothed for
Oh, okay.
forest bathing.
Okay.
There are
That's
some folks
probably
that
good.
get into the water, rain or shine. And that's another frequently asked question. People say, well, if it's raining, do I still go? I mean, if you're in the middle of an electrical storm, that is not the best time to be in the forest, right? But have you ever been out there with soft rain, listening to the rain hit the ground, the smell of the air around the rain? I find it very, very relaxing. So you can have, a raincoat on or something with a hood, and you can just spend time walking through the forest. It's as if you went somewhere on vacation. I kid you not. Your life slows down and you feel connected. It really helps you to feel connected to the earth, which is really important. It's really important.
Well, I think Cindy had something she wanted to share. Oops, can you unmute?
I said, sure. I would love to. I spent most of my life in Kansas, but for the last 10 years, I've been living on a farm in rural Pennsylvania. And there's a forest. I can see it from my kitchen window. It's 2,000 or 3,000 acres and very hilly. And I'm in that forest 3 to 5 times a week. I hike up a mountain for about 3/4 mile, and then it levels out and I go along the ridge. I have my 3 dogs with me. So I had been doing this for a while. There's a number of trails, but this particular trail I'm telling you about was a favorite. And when you come down the mountain a ways away, I would be coming down, and this one particular tree just, I think it was sending me energy. It just caught my attention. And at first, and I kept going. Well, then the next time, same thing. So I go up to the tree, and it's right by the trail. I didn't even have to go off the trail. And I put my hands on the tree, and there was an immediate rush of energy grounding me. I mean, I do grounding exercises, but this was just like so powerful. So we had an immediate connection, and I visit the tree regularly. I feel like we communicate. We communicate. I mean, we do. I'll share this with you. I haven't told anybody about it, but I think you all understand. One time, not too long ago, I didn't have long to visit. Oh, and I nicknamed the tree Grandfather Tree, even though it's not one of the oldest trees in the forest. But I couldn't stay long. I just had now I put my arms around him. As far as I can't get all the way around him, but I have my arms around him. I said, I'm sorry, I can't stay. I'm short on time, I gotta go. And tell everybody in the forest I said hi. And the response I got was, we all can hear you, Cindy. We're all one. And then and then another rush of this huge, just strong connection and high vibration. It's just profound. And I haven't been in the forest for a few weeks because the last time I went, I was running on the trail to get to my tree, and I fell. And it turned out I broke my arm and fractured a rib and cut my chin. I mean, it was a hard fall. And I'm laying on the ground, and I could feel the forest surround me. And for quite a while, I didn't even think about where my dogs were, because they're high energy, they'll go anywhere. And after a while, I thought, where are they? And one was at my head, one was lying at my side, and one was lying at my feet. I mean, we were just taken care of, because it took an hour for emergency people to get there, and the forest took care of me. It was incredible. So
Wow.
this was so timely for me, April, for you to be speaking. I haven't been in Reiki Circle in a long time, and for you to do this presentation at this time about the trees, it's just means a lot to me. So thank you very much. You had such an articulate description of what it's like to be in the forest.
Mhm.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, beautiful
I
story.
would love for you to write that down, to write down your experience. I think that life gets busy and we think, oh, I can't get out there. I can't go spend the time out there. But then you read over your journal, if you journal afterward, and you go, I'm making this happen. I'm making this happen because there are many experiences that you can have. And sometimes, I even go, what just happened? That support by the forest that you felt. I have felt that before. I've had healing happen before. And before I had, Reiki, but the combo, oh my, right?
Yeah.
Together is just amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It's you can hardly, I have trouble describing it. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yes. So it is actually recommended that you take a journal with you and write down any ahas. I also take my phone. I've been known to take pictures of faces in rocks or trees or in the air just for fun. And I used to say I'd catch it on film, but that's not really true anymore, is it? With the new modern phones. But I think that it's comforting in a way to recognize those things or to revisit your time in nature, watching the water and etc. I've taken a video of the light shining in the water. And if you soften your eyes and you just stare at the glistening of water, there are times where you really literally see a face or an energy in that, or you feel like you're receiving energy just by taking the time to do that and tuning in to that sparkling with a willingness to receive light. Light is frequency, right? I happen to love going really early in the morning. I know a lot of folks, they don't want to go at sunrise, but I'm out there starting slightly dark, and there is nothing more magical to me than that early morning light. And early in the morning, I'm not dealing with the mosquitoes. We have mosquitoes here, we have bats, but they're not keeping up with those mosquitoes. And so in the morning, I don't have any issues with that. And I capture pictures of the quality of light, the light shining through the trees. And I feel like that frequency coming up here to like the third eye or the front of the forehead, that early morning light is magical. It just gives you energy. And the beauty of the awakening of a forest or the awakening of the beach is something that you don't see later in the day as much, especially if there are going to be more people around and things like that. But it's as if the forest is waking up, the animals are waking up. I've had lots of experiences with animals that they look at me, I look at them, we're both tuned in. I haven't had any trouble. Our bears aren't the big grizzly bears, but we have mountain lions, we have bobcats, fox, and they just walk right by me now at this point. They're familiar with me. I visit the same places. And so I think that if you go multiple times, you can truly build a relationship with an area. At this point, I literally, if something's not right, it's like you can hear it. The normal bird sounds aren't happening or something like that. Sometimes there have been local hunters in the area that I wasn't aware of, but I kind of had my senses of, because it's as if the forest were different in some way. The sounds were different. Everything was completely silent. Things like that you can get to know if you visit more than once. And you don't have to be out there like me. I go out there for hours at a time, but you can literally spend 15 minutes in your backyard with a tree, or, putting your feet on the grass. Okay, so I don't want to make it sound like you have to be out there all the time like I am, but there's qualities that you get to know that are worth it. It's like a relationship with the forest.
So
Or the
thank you for
ocean.
sharing that. And April, I wanted to come back to what I was guessing forest bathing might be when, in the beginning. And I've actually gone out and taken branches of evergreen trees and just rubbed them over my arm and chest.
Probably smells amazing.
Yeah, it smells good, but it also feels good, and it's cleansing the energy, and I'm just rubbing that evergreen branch on my body. It feels good. And during one of those walks, I was outside when there was snow on the ground. I was at a retreat center over New Year's Eve, and I managed to get lost, and it was starting to get dark. And I didn't know which way to get back to the retreat center. And no one was coming for me. So I asked the trees, like which way do I go? And they said, well, the path is over there, but the shortcut is right there. And so I took the shortcut and made it back. So
That's fabulous.
Wow.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, I think that the forest can absolutely communicate with us. Trees can absolutely communicate. Now you're going to see me. I'm going to send you some pictures, Karen, because I'm going to be out there rubbing those on my moons. I hadn't tried that before. I have laid in moss, different moss. I mean, talk about feeling alive. If you have an opportunity to do that, that's really something of value, laying in moss. It probably doesn't smell as good as the evergreen trees, though.
Hmm.
It smells more like soil, like the minerals of the earth, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
They do have grounding mats. I worked for a long time in adaptive physical education, and folks couldn't get to certain locations. And they do have grounding mats that people have said have been helpful. I prefer, holding on to something or being in nature or touching the grass or touching the tree myself personally, but I have heard some good things about those for people who aren't able to do that.
So you're talking about the earthing mats.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If people can't get out.
Yeah. I have tried that before. It didn't feel great for my body. But now my friend Kathy Milanowski bought me a big piece of tourmaline when we went crystal digging in Mount Ida, Arkansas, near Hot Springs.
Yes.
And so I have it. It's like this big. It's rose and kind of a gray tourmaline. So right by
Wow.
my bed, and then I can put my hands on it, whenever I need to ground, particularly before going to bed, just put my hands on it and just feel all of my energy just releasing into the rock.
Yeah. I think that too, even if you're near the ocean, you can get a shell. This one happened to have a little heart on it. A shell or stone from the ocean, and you can feel that. And there's always saying, listen to the ocean through the shell, a shell held up to the ear. And I think that we can go back to that place or to that memory and that area where we got that. So that's really neat. Where was that, in Arkansas?
Mount Ida near Hot Springs, just a little on south of Eureka Springs, where you spent your childhood.
Yeah.
And there's also Jesseville near Hot Springs. So there's different places to dig for crystals there. And I think Kathy Milanowski and Karen Keg might organize a group trip there next spring, possibly.
That would be really fun with a fun group too.
Yes.
Yes. So any questions about forest bathing so far? Have any of you ever done that exercise, staring at the light in the water?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, good.
Absolutely.
And have you all seen quality of light coming through a darker part of a forest in the morning and watch? Just, there's almost like you can see the aura of a tree. It's all lit up and you can
Wow.
see that.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
I didn't hear what you said. What was that?
Oh, I haven't seen that part, but it's beautiful to see the light shimmering through it. It just seems like absolute rays when it comes to the leaves, but I've never seen the aura and the colors, but interesting. Cool.
Another option too, before I forget it, if you're not able to go into the forest, I know Karen has essential oils, so you could get some essential oils for like a fir tree or some of their grounding oils that you can spend a moment with, and just even smelling those brings a state of relaxation and grounding. So here she brings one. Do you have, is it fir? What is it?
This is Northern Lights Black Spruce.
Oh, how nice.
So
How
I'm
nice.
just gonna put a couple drops in my palms and then inhale. I did that before a meeting that I was running today earlier and just needed to center and ground, and smells good, feels good, and takes me to the forest.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
That's going on. It's gonna get list. Cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to come back to what you said about looking at the aura of the tree. So
Yes.
we have a Reiki technique called Gyoshiho, which is sending Reiki with the eyes, that you learn about in Reiki 2. And you can activate the Reiki with your eyes and then look at the tree and look just above the tree and kind of let your eyes go soft and squint a little bit. And you may be able to see like a different quality of light around the top of the tree, or a haze around the top of the tree. And that is the aura of the tree. And that is super fun, to look at the energy around the tree.
Absolutely. You can do that, a similar technique with that in ferns. If you're in a forest that has a lot of ferns and the light is coming in, and sometimes you can see little energy moving around, and some people would call that fairy energy, or they have other words for it. But I actually find that comforting. Some folks are like, I wouldn't want to see energy moving around the tree. I actually find it comforting to do that. Yeah. So that soft gaze and sending Reiki, especially, building a relationship, with an area or with a specific group of trees or ferns, and returning to that multiple times. So Jackie, maybe working with your cherry tree or something like that, it deepens. There are more experiences that you can have doing it multiple times.
Yes. And April, this is also similar to an exercise we have in our animal Reiki class. I think it's the Animal Reiki Masterclass on Experience the Divinity of Nature, where we are activating the animal Reiki symbol, the Tree of Life, and sending the Tree of Life symbol to nature, whatever it is that you want, a tree, a rock, a plant, water, and then just feeling, the energy, or hearing a message, or, maybe just seeing and enjoying the beauty, smelling,
Absolutely.
nature, all the different sensory ways of experiencing nature. So I have a whole Reiki call on that, with a meditation on Experience the Divinity of Nature.
That's wonderful. Yes. Aren't we lucky to have so many cool tools?
Yeah.
So another one, when you're sending Reiki, I'm always experimenting and having fun, but when you're experiencing Reiki in the forest, just kind of palpating things, like going up and sending Reiki to a tree, and then just sort of seeing how that feels with your hands. Can you feel and sense the energy from the tree and what that feels like? And then try sending a couple of different symbols and see if one flows differently than the other with the tree. And also with water. It's amazing what you can feel around water that you might not have experimented with or played with yet, that the energy is felt back, especially palpating it. Or even sometimes, you're always like, is that my imagination? But sometimes when you're sending Reiki to water, it's as though it moves differently and the sound quality changes, which I always find very interesting. So now we've given lots of ideas to go out and play in the forest, finding and connecting with your inner child, spending that time relaxing and enjoying. And what if, when we're children, we can parallel play. We can say, hey, let's go climb that mountain. And there's nothing in our way of doing that. Yeah. And they're going and they're marching in place like they're climbing a mountain. I mean, children just do that naturally. It doesn't even occur to them that wouldn't be possible. Their imagination is there. And I think it's extremely healthy for us as adults to play like that, to just, what does it look like over there? And then wander over there and take a look at it. You know, what is the energy like over here? Oh, I'm hearing some different sounds. I'm hearing a bird. Can I just look up and see where that bird might be? And then taking time to breathe a little deeper when you're there.
That sounds
Dave.
good. I think we all need to go out and do that after this, after this meeting. Day, you had a comment?
Yeah, I'm a clinician at a drug and alcohol treatment center, and I live in Colorado, and we live near Red Rocks,
Ooh.
and there's water all over there. So I took them to a path, a creek, and it does sound different. And they want to play in the water after.
Well,
It's fascinating on how that cognitive behavior changes, even when they're in the bad mood. Taking them there, moods change. They become, when are we going to Red Rocks again? When are we? Or just the different minerals of the rocks get into your psyche. It's like that the psychologist Ram Dass says, there's no ugly, we don't look at a tree and say that tree's ugly or that rock's ugly. We don't, but we do that as humans. We can do that we can compare ourselves differently with humans than with nature. It's fascinating on how that happens, but when you're connected with a higher power of that nature, you forget about everything and you're connected with everything. It's
yes.
difficult to explain, but to take people out or by yourself, you have that energy and when you look at the sun or do sun meditation or Reiki, it's like it's ingrained in your head and it's there in your mind after months, because there's certain pictures I remember of different places you find of the sun coming up, and you don't forget those pictures. Everything else is forgotten but the energy of the sun or the trees or whatever.
Yeah. So remembering not to look directly at the sun.
No.
Very
Certain
low on the
hours.
horizon.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you. I've taken groups into the forest before for these kinds of experiences. And I am working on an online program, Moss,
Yes. Tell us
Mist,
about that.
and the Mystic is what it's going to be called. So
Moss and the Mystic.
Moss, Mist, and the Mystic.
Oh, okay.
There's something about the mist. People say, well, what does that mean? What does that mean, the mist? In the early mornings, you can see mist and the heat of trees and etc. floating. And there's something, a very beautiful quality, a feeling, a sensation that comes with the mist and watching the mist leaving the trees.
All right. So this will be a program that you're writing and that people could do online. Maybe sometime later this year, possibly at aprilwalker.com.
Yes, at aprilwalker.com, possibly by the end of the year. I'm finishing up some of the stuff with the Licensed Center Teacher Program. So we'll see how the timing falls. It's probably halfway done.
Mm-hmm.
There's pictures, there's pointing out different things, there are suggestions to do, there are meditations to do. So it should be fun. It should be fun. A lot of folks that have done it with me in person have moved out of the area, et cetera. And they're like, we want to know more information and we don't live near you. So that's what this is going to be for
Mhm.
and about. So,
Wonderful. Well, that sounds great. And wait a minute. So can you hold up that one book again? Was there a book on forest bathing? Okay.
there's one on earthing. There's several on forest bathing online.
Uh-huh.
There's a Dr. Lee, and he has one on sensing the forest that's really good as well. Is this the one you wanted to see?
Oh, okay. No, I was just wondering if there was a specific book on forest bathing.
Yes, and he's from Japan. Lee,
Okay.
L-I, Dr. Lee.
Okay, LEI.
And I'll send all of this to you as well.
Okay, all right, great. When I send out the Reiki call follow-up email, then I'll put all that information and links in it.
Yeah, so highly recommend it. You'll know based on how you feel afterward, just spending that time. Does anybody else have any questions?
Hey, I have a question. This is Helen, and I phoned in, so you can't see me.
Hi, Helen.
I live in a city. I live in New Haven, Connecticut, and there's a small park for me that the city is trying to sell for $1 to developers,
Oh
and
my.
it's got about a lot of people are against it, but me and a group of people formed a nonprofit called Friends of Kensington Playground, which is the name of the park, Kensington Playground, to try, and we've hired an lawyer. And my phone just beeped. Am I still connected?
Yes, you're still connected.
We hired an environmental justice lawyer, and we're looking at things that like rates of asthma in the area and connecting that to the lack of trees, and a whole bunch of different things about like mental well-being. And we need we'll probably go to court next summer, but we're not sure when. But you said that in Japan there's like ample evidence.
Yes,
I'm
going to be sending the information to Karen and she'll send it out. There's some links
Okay.
to the research, and then I'll have a couple books there for you.
Okay, because we're really seriously saying, the air quality in our neighborhood is going to get worse if you cut down. There's about 25 to 30 full-grown trees in the park, and it's in a neighborhood that is low rent, and the kids don't really have there's no other. The kids are in rental places which don't have backyards with like swing sets or whatever. Like the park is it, But there's I could go on and on about it. But basically, we're looking for information and quote expert witnesses to testify on the behalf of the necessity of the park for different reasons, including emotional and physical well-being. So.
Yes, so I'll send information to Karen after the call. But I understand, and I'll look for those specifically and send those as well, the studies for that, the information for that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, and Helen, we can all send Reiki to that.
Yeah, if you guys would, because this is a legal battle against the city. The city wants to develop it, and we're arguing that the development of it actually hurts the specific neighborhood that it's in. And a big argument is the air quality. Apparently, that neighborhood has some of the worst air quality in the summer in the entire U.S. So, anyways, any prayer or Reiki you want to send towards that cause would be great.
Okay, all right, great. We can do that. All right, well, we are almost out of time. Any other last questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, April, for coming on and talking about.
It's
What a
been very
great group
helpful.
you have, Karen.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, we we're getting some echoing there. So anyway, I just love talking about nature and forest. You know, trees are one of my favorite things. So I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and look forward to seeing your online class later. And, you know, it's just a good reminder to get out there and notice the trees and, you know, give Reiki to the trees and receive their loving energy back.
Yes. Yes, thank you guys.
Okay, thank
Nice
you
to be
all.
here.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining and let me know if there's other topics that you all would like to hear about. Okay, Reiki hugs and blessings to you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Karen,
Yeah.
Bye.
thank you, 203. And